Alright, so let's talk about what I'm going to talk about today. It's not really a funny topic, but it's something that's kind of controversial, and I want to talk about it, so we're going to jump right in it. I'm taking a class this semester, and it's by far the most interesting class that I've taken in college. I've been in college for 2 years. This is the most interesting one I've taken. Geology 102, and it's pretty much just a class based on the evolution of Earth, like the evolution of the land masses, plants, the animals, all that. It's pretty much like an evolution class. Now, let me set the record straight. I am nor an evolutionist or a believer in the theory of evolution, but what I will say is that there are some aspects of evolution that are reasonable. Alright, so if you look into the world today, whether it be the plant or animal kingdom or like the human that where we live in today, everything is specially made. Like in the animal kingdom, one of the most interesting animals I think is the kangaroo. Based on its size, like no mammal of that size hops around at the speed that it does to move around and get around. Like no other creature does that. If you look at the ankle bone in a kangaroo, both ankles, it's about like this big. And if it was built a centimeter bigger or a centimeter smaller, when the kangaroo would jump and land, it would dislocate both of its ankles. So just how intricate just that small part of the kangaroo leads you to believe that something had to create it or someone had to create it. Look into our world today with cars, computers, smartphones, houses, like it's created, which leads you to believe something created it because of how technical and specially made it is. Like cars, there's a robot that assembles the cars, but somebody had to make that robot, leading it to be a creator. Someone had to build an algorithm or program to run that robot to specially make a car. So there's steps, like nothing just pops. Like evolution to me is weird. It's like saying if you took a computer chip and you placed it in the right conditions, that eventually it would evolve and build up and it would be a TV or a smartphone or a computer. It doesn't work. Like that part of evolution is really hard for me to believe, that we came from a little germ speck and grew into so many different intricate animals, and then eventually man just popped up out of those animals. Like that's so hard for me to believe. Like it doesn't make sense. Now, as I said before, that I think that certain aspects within the evolutionary theory are more reasonable than other aspects in that theory. That being like certain animals evolve. Like I'm a Christian, so like in the Bible it says that God created 2 of every animal. This was around the time of the flood, that he created 2 of every animal for the animal kingdom to survive and prosper and continue. If you look at like maybe like birds or like lizards or something like that, say he created 2 birds and those birds evolved into different types of birds like the hummingbird, hawks, eagles, like that. Maybe he just generalized 2 birds and then maybe based off the evolutionary theory that they evolved and branched off into different types of birds. Same thing with like lizards or any other animal, that they branched off and evolved based off the living conditions around the world, because around the world, the planet, it's not the same living conditions. It's not cold everywhere around the world. It's not hot everywhere around the world. There's different types of living conditions. So when it comes to that part of evolutionary, because I'm open-minded, so I think that part maybe could be true, that God created 2 of every animal and then they evolved based off living conditions to evolve into different types of species. Because the world is so intricate and specialized that it leads you to believe that there has to be a creator. Like it's so hard to believe that something just popped up out of nothing. Like there's nothing in the world today is ever like that. There's a creator in any, like the plant kingdom, animal kingdom, something happens. Like when animals, like the beaver creates a dam to survive in his living condition, he created a dam. The dam didn't just pop up out of nowhere. When they reproduce, 2 creatures in the same species come together, 2 different sexes, and make another creature. Like if they don't, creatures don't just pop up out of nowhere. There has to be a creator. Like something had to be created. I think the same thing can go for, with that aspect, the same thing can go for us humans. Like God created Adam and Eve. Let's just say Adam and Eve are white. Not everyone in the world today is white. You're white, you're black, your skin complexion can be tan. There's so many different races out there. So it leads me to believe that the same evolutionary theory of maybe like when God created the animals, that they branched off and created different species within that, created different creatures within that species, leads me to believe that living conditions that some of these people branched off to, they developed and adapted and became what the darker skin complexion, adapted to the sunlight in different areas, being that where there was more sunlight and warmer conditions is why skin tone is darker, or if your skin tone is lighter, the living conditions were maybe colder and less sunlight driven. Well, that's my take on it. In this video, you can obviously tell what side I'm on, side of creation, creator. I mean, just look, man, if you just look in nature and all the bright different colored animals and plants and just the scenery, it's hard to believe that just popped up and came out of nowhere. Like somebody had to have created that. So, you know, let me know what you guys think. Leave it down below in the comments. DM me on Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, or send me an email if you want to get really elaborate with it. Just send me an email, dreadking95@gmail.com. Just let me know what you guys think. Dread King, Loudies.
Wet till the water burst. Killing pussy, put it in the hearse. And you know I'm in that cut, can somebody call the nurse? Hey, she turn a nigga on, no key, no breath.